Hey all you Honda CBRs, if you ever have this issue, I'm replacing my stator and I look on different videos of people doing the long way of trying to replace it, and they mentioned about removing all the fairings, but as you can see you don't have to remove all the fairings. All I did was remove the seat and the side fairing, which is right there on the side. And before you even get started, yes, the signs I noticed it was a bad failure. I did with the alternator test and it was showing it wasn't charging up properly. And then when I did a oil change prior to this, I seen gold flakes, which was probably coming from the copper over here of the old stator. And as you can see, I took it apart. And yes, definitely you have to buy a gasket, because to remove that little wire is behind that gasket, so I have to rip that apart. And yes, I put a gasket sealer in the whole 9 yards. And I compared the generic one, this is a generic $50 one, compared to Honda's. They wanted to recommend replacing the whole hub, the whole screws, the whole settings for $400. That's just parts alone. So this is just going to cost me $50 parts alone, but in timeline, I am going to take my time to clean up the gasket, and that's a lot of problem people have, was removing the gaskets. It's going to be razor. I'm going to sit down, remove it all night, and clean up the rest of the chain and the whole 9 yards. And when the plugs does come in, I'm going to also show you a shortcut how to replace the plugs. I've seen some guy remove the radiator, the whole 9 yards, just to get the spark plug, but I'm sure there's always an easier way. And right now I'm showing the easier way, and I'm showing the before I finish this project. I'm also going to have a continuance when I finish it. And I do notice that generic one does have a lot less copper in it. So, and unfortunately with the generic one, you're dealing with a lot less copper. Hopefully it doesn't output a lot less power, but I don't know for sure. But before I even change out this stator, I did a test. It was at 13.4 at the max and everything, so I see the difference. And yes, when you do change out the stator, it's so dark now, I'm losing light, and you got to clean out all the carbon that's inside of there. So wipe down, clean, and touch up everything else. And I'll give you a second part when I'm done, or when I'm putting the whole housing back together, and show you the before and after. And yes, make sure you have a drip pan under there, because oil will come out of the stator, and it was full of oil. I did not drain it prior. I did an oil change and then try to think it was just gunk or metallic particles in the oil, and it helped a little bit, but still it wasn't fully charging. All right, hope this will help you, and hope you subscribe and see the part 2, the finishing touches of the Honda CBR Circuit Bike Racer. I'm sure this goes with all the Honda CBRs, and maybe the 1100 or 1200, so the CBRs a little bit different size. Everybody suggested to remove the gas tank, and I was about to, but then I said, hey, no, the hardest part is getting to this little connector and pulling back the boot, which was this connector right here. And take your time, because you don't want to break the plastic, because I had to use just these tools alone was my tool of choice. All right, thanks.